I feel bad that I have failed you. So I failed myself. I
Yeah.
failed you. I failed
Well,
Mark. I failed our fans.
So
So
these schlock fests are supposed to be to actually make it so he hates him, or he has to hate him.
the goal is
That's the
to
point.
drive Randy nuts with terrible movies.
yeah. He wants me to be mad at the end of it that I
Mad,
wasted my
angry.
time.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
want to see Randy's face red.
And on several of our podcasts, that happened many a times because I'm
Yeah.
like,
What's the worst one?
oh God, Cats.
Cats. Oh God.
I had
Okay.
to,
All right.
yeah, I had to sit through that in an actual theater, man, and it was just unbelievably terrible.
I'm
Ugh.
sorry. I'm sorry.
No.
I
I
have
think
not
the worst
watched.
one was probably Can't Stop the Music for Randy.
Well, Can't Stop the Music was the longest one. See, this is where we set Mark a benchmark for hours because this ass was like, oh yeah, here's a 3 hour movie about the fucking village people that doesn't even have like anything to do with the actual village people's story until halfway through the movie, and a bunch of wieners thrown in just at random. And I'm like, dude, no more 3 hour movies, okay? Nobody's got time for that. I rarely have time for a 3 hour movie that's good, let alone one that's terrible.
A second way people used to retire in pro wrestling is due to severe injury. Of course, like with any career, this is not desirable. No one wants to get struck down in their prime with an injury, or any injury, at any time. And no one wants to get to the point where they can't do the one thing they know how to do. No one wants to be struck down by an injury as a wrestler. I mean, Bo Jackson was taken out with an injury. That's what ended his career, and he's playing two sports. It ended because, quite frankly, he was physically unable to keep going, especially at the level he had been. But these things do happen. People like Rick Rude, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, Steve Austin, Edge, Christian, Tyson Kidd, Daniel Bryan, Shawn Michaels, Jason Jordan, they've all had to retire at one point or another due to a severe injury, some of which even threatened their lives if they were to step back in the ring. In the case of Edge, Shawn Michaels, and Daniel Bryan, these men were able to step back in the ring and actually go on to resume their careers, and in Shawn Michaels' case, retire again, this time more in the classical sense, sort of deciding when that last match was going to be, have a great match with The Undertaker, and ride off into the sunset. Then, of course, he had that one money match in Saudi Arabia, which, but I digress. But this also doesn't negate the fact that sometimes these injuries, quite often, these types of injuries are permanent. Look no further than the Dynamite Kid, who was severely injured his back, and that eventually led to not only the end of his career, but his physical decline overall. This can happen anytime in your career, and no injury is planned, and sometimes seemingly minor injuries can lead to major problems with your career down the line. Steve Austin famously injured his neck in 1997 with the infamous inverted tombstone spot, which then he aggravated in 1999, where he, was supposedly hit by a car, and then that later ended his career in 2003. The same neck injury followed him for the rest of his career, shortening what could have been even longer career had the neck injury not been an issue.
As they drove, Betty noticed a very bright star in the sky. She guessed that it may have been a shooting star. However, there was something wrong with the way that it was moving through the sky. It wasn't behaving like any shooting star she'd ever seen before. So she pointed it out to Barney, who didn't seem very concerned. Then Barney decided to pull over in a picnic area south of Twin Mountain to let their dog out and try to get a better look at this star with his binoculars that he always kept in his car. They pull over, Barney looks at the light, sees what he thinks might be a plane. There were windows on the craft and he could see tiny figures inside. Suddenly, the craft moved at an incredible speed in their direction. He knew that no plane could move in this way, and he decided immediately it was time to go.
Right, and one of the notes I wrote on here, the thing that distinguishes this from a lot of other similar sightings and abduction stories is this was the first one of this type ever recorded and publicized. Like, our whole idea of the gray aliens and being abducted and having tests conducted on us and all of that stuff, this was the first time that it had ever been really recorded and written down as happening to somebody. So they weren't actually taking other people's stories and, building and imagining extra things and blah, blah, blah. This was an original story, I guess, that had not been done before.
Uh-huh.
So either way, there. Even if you don't believe the story at all, it was the first one like this ever.
Laurie Strode versus Leslie Vernon.
Leslie Vernon.
Leslie Vernon from Behind the Mask. Have you guys seen that
Leslie,
movie?
Leslie
Oh
Vernon.
yeah,
I have.
Lori's got it.
Laurie.
What?
Yeah,
What?
yeah. Lori's
Which
got it.
Lori? Are we talking about the one from Halloween?
I'm talking old Lori.
Yeah, old
Either
Lori
got
or
to,
young
like,
Lori.
Fucking Frank Castle Lori.
I didn't
No.
set an
Going
age
after
on her,
his ass.
so I don't know.
If we're going young Lori, that bitch is dead. If we're going old Lori, I'm with him.
Yeah, no, yes. I don't know if little Lori would survive, but she definitely fuck him up.
Let's go with old Lori because
It's Leslie either way.
when that movie came out, she would have been old. So let's go
Yeah,
with that.
So, what's
I'm
Jake
both-
say?
I said Lori.
Oh, Lord. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say Leslie just because he studies, killing. So but I would have lost anyways. So let's move on here. Up next, we have Captain Spaulding versus Ripley from Alien.
Well, I mean, it would be a gunfight.
Whoever, the
Ripley by a
faster
mile.
trigger.
Yeah,
Ripley
I'm going
by
with
a
Ripley.
mile.
I say Ripley too.
I think it has to go. So right off the bat, we got with the women just tearing up the
He'd
bracket.
be like, "What you got against clowns, you bitch?"
Up next, we have Slender Man taking on Jack Torrance.
Ooh.
Slender Man. Jack would be too busy getting drunk in a bar, so
Yeah, I'm
mentally, he
Slender
can't
Man.
handle it.
Yeah, I guess I'll go Slender Man too.
Slender Man.
He's magical, where Jack Torrance is just
Yeah.
crazy.
And
There you
Jack
go.
Torrance was really just battling his own demons. So
Exactly.
Yeah.
up next, we have Harry Warden from My Bloody Valentine and the Tall Man from Phantasm.
Tall man,
Tall man.
Oh man.
no question.
I think that's the way to go, Jason.
It is. It is.
Like the tall man is supernatural alien.
Yeah, he's
death
an alien.
itself.
Like,
Who knows what he really is? So
That's true.
yeah,
Up next, The Thing versus The Predator.
The Thing.
The Thing.
I don't know. Predator can eat.
I think
Predator has
I'm gonna go-
flamethrowers.
Predator.
Yeah, Predator
Yeah, Predator's like he's
blows it
a
up, man.
survivor.
The Thing.
Yeah, like disintegrates it.
Any tiny bit of it that's left
I mean, it's
can get in.